Most would say that their favorite cut of steak is filet mignon. It's a classic, it's tender, and it has really good flavor, but that's basically it. I can't justify the price for just a little bit of tenderness and a little bit more flavor. I think that there are 3 other cuts that are just as good, if not better than filet, and they're cheaper. And I have one that you're not gonna believe is not a filet mignon. This thing looks insane. First things first, we're gonna start with our control. We have some beautiful filet mignon. Super tender. It does sacrifice a little bit for tenderness with lack of fat. But a lot of the times when you cook filet, you're gonna add some fat to it, like bacon wrapping or even butter basting. But today, we're gonna keep it very simple. Add a little bit of oil, and then I'm gonna season with salt, pepper, garlic. I'm gonna do that with all of the steaks so we can really know, is it really better than the filet? Now we have my grill nice and hot. We're just cooking over some lump charcoal. I'm gonna add these guys on. We're gonna cook them for about 6 minutes total, about 3 minutes aside. Now, a little bit about the filet mignon. It comes from the back part of the cow, right off of the tenderloin. It's super tender because it's not really a muscle that the cow is using very often. It is a highly prized cut that people absolutely adore, and it is one of my favorites. But at the end of the day, it can be like 50 bucks at a freaking steakhouse to get a 6 to 8 ounce filet. So in my opinion, it's great. I think it's overhyped. Now, the one thing I do absolutely love about fillets is just how thick they tend to be. I mean, these are tall steaks. They're not that difficult to cook, very straightforward. You just wanna make sure that you don't overcook them. In my personal opinion, they're definitely better rarer than they are overcooked. All right, fillets are done. I'm gonna pull them off, let them rest. Let's slice into these fillets. Now, this is what I'm talking about. I do like it a little bit more rare on a filet. I personally think that you're not gonna have as much problem with like tenderness or it being like super overcooked. But this, in my opinion, is perfect for a filet. All right, let's try it out. Tender, flavorful, does miss a little bit of that richness that you get with like a ribeye with all that fat. But honestly, if you really are not a big fat eater on steak, this is the cut for you. Let's see if we can make some steaks that are cheaper and better. Now, the first one, I need you to hear me out. Slightly controversial. I have a flat iron steak. No, I'm not saying that filet mignon and flat iron are the same. What I am saying though is take a flat iron, take a flank, and we're gonna make a small pinwheel out of this guy, and you have something that is infinitely cheaper than filet, looks identical, has very similar fat, but half the price. Let's season these guys up. I'm gonna add a little bit of oil. Look how much more fat there is. You can see it. Definitely going to have a little bit more of a rich flavor. Now, just gonna add them onto the grill. These should take about 7 to 8 minutes to cook. Now, I definitely know that pinwheels like this are not quite like having fillets, but I will say it is infinitely cheaper. You're definitely getting the fat, but it's just not gonna be quite as tender. But at the end of the day, I really think that this is a fantastic way of replicating that similar size of a filet without like spending $1 billion on getting a 6 ounce cut of steak. Pinwheels are done, pull them off, let them rest. Juicy. Not too shabby. Very similar to the filet. Just also make sure to take off your butcher twine. I mean, pretty sure that you can eat it, but I wouldn't recommend it. Juicy. Let's try it out. Flavor, incredible. The crust, incredible. In my opinion, this is definitely the cheaper and better version. You can get a big flat iron or a couple of them and make something very similar to this. Add some asparagus, add some mashed potatoes, and you have an incredible steak dinner. Now, let's move on to something pretty incredible. For the most avant-garde cut of steak, we have the little to almost not well known at all Terrace Major. It can also be called a petite filet. This comes from the chuck. Well, it comes from the scapula region, and it's just like this crazy, weird, really elongated football shape, but it is extremely tender. We'll see if it beats the filet. I'm gonna add a little bit of oil, season with salt, pepper, garlic, and throw it onto the grill. Kind of looks like a slug. A little bit about the Terrace Major. It's also called the faux filet, or it could be called the petite filet, because more or less has the very similar tenderness to filet. Really, it would be something that you would traditionally see or have to ask a butcher in order to get. It is extremely tender. It doesn't take very long to cook. I absolutely love Terrace Major. I've already tried it before. The grain structure is gonna be really fun once you see it slice into it. The grains are very unique. All right, these are done. Pull them off, let them rest. So we have our Terrace Major, slice into it. This is an extremely unique grain structure on steak. Looks like what you would get when you cut against the grain with a skirt steak, but just like blown up and just a lot more of it. It's beautiful. This is a really fun one. Look at that. Look how juicy that boy is. Let's try it out. Tender. It's very similar in the meatiness of a filet. Like it has a very, very, very similar flavor profile. Doesn't have a ton of fat, but overall, that's what makes it incredible because it's a cheaper version. It's such a unique steak. The grain structure is really unique. The shape of it is really unique. We've tried the classic filet. We've also done the steak pinwheel, and now we've done the Terrace Major. This next one will 100% blow your mind because it looks almost identical to a filet, but it's not. This is not a filet. This boy is a Manhattan filet. So what the heck is a Manhattan filet? Well, basically, this is just a very beautiful New York strip that they cut in half, and they're taking that top part off, trimming off some of the fat, and you basically have the fatty, delicious part of a New York strip ready to go that is cheaper and honestly better than filet. Look at that marbling. The marbling is insane. Honestly, this isn't even a competition. Already, this one looks better than filet. All right, let's add this onto the grill. Manhattan filet is basically the most tender part of the New York strip. You end up having something that tastes a lot like filet, but is not quite as tender. It has that meatiness that a lot of people absolutely love about New York strip. But at the end of the day, I think that it looks a lot like it, and it has all of the like fattiness that you wish that fillets had, and it's cheaper. All right, these guys are looking pretty good. Let's pull them off, let them rest. Tell me these are not filet mignons. Like, these look almost identical. Slice into these faux fillets and see if they're good. They look insane. I mean, look at that. And look at the marbling on the inside that you can see. I mean, that's just like better than a filet. Let's try it out. So much more fat, not quite as tender, but still not like, it's not tough. Very, very delicious. So freaking delicious. Honestly, this is a 10 out of 10. And you can make this at home. Grab yourself a New York strip, slice it down the middle, cut off a little bit of that fat cap, you're good to go. This is the filet if it actually had some good fat on it. Like a little chunky monkey filet. That's what this is. Everything's better with a little bit of fat on it, including myself. Now we've tried everything. We tried the classic filet, but we also got to try out the steak pinwheel. We got ourselves a Terrace Major and the incredible, the elusive Manhattan filet. I think that fillets are overrated, but that's just my opinion. If you tried any of these, leave a comment if you really think these are cheaper and better. But also, if I missed something, leave a comment below. Let me know if there are other cuts out there that you think are better than filet, because there's like a billion cuts on the cow and I don't know every single one of them, but YouTube knows everything. As always, make sure to go and check out my brand new fire grill. That thing rocks, and you can go and get all of my seasonings. That's linked in the description below, as well as my hot sauces and barbecue sauce and all the fun things. And as always, stay so freaking delicious. Cheers. I have nothing, there is no end. There is no ending. There is no outro, epilogue. Okay, bye.